Hi, welcome back to the Cuzzy Sound channel. Occasionally I get asked what software I use for producing things like the stripboard layouts, schematics and various other things. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's make a video showing what software I use to make videos. Before I start, I'm not promoting any particular person's software. I'm not endorsing any of this software. I have no associations with any companies or individuals associated with the software. It's just the software that I've found works for me, how I want to work to do what I want to do. The other point about this software, as you'll see when we go to the computer and have a look at it, is that everything I use is open source, which means that if you want to, you can go on there and download it for free. I think all of the programs are also cross-platform, tongue twister there. But again, as you'll see, my OS is a version of Linux. Anyway, less of the chat. If you want to know what software I use to produce things like this and build stuff like that, then stick around. This is my desktop. It's actually Linux Mint, I think it's 18.3. It's definitely 18, which means it's about 2 generations behind where they are with Linux Mint at the point at which I'm making this particular video. But hey, I'm running it on a desktop computer that's got hardware that's way more ancient than a 2-generation old version of Linux Mint. But that's the operating system I use. Now, apart from this operating system, which you can go and look it up if you want to, when I start showing you the actual software packages that I run under the Linux to do what I do, all the software that I put there, I'll try and, I will include links in the description so that you can go and have a look at what they are, read a bit more and maybe download them. One of the things I will say is that as I pick these software packages up, what I'm not doing with this video is a tutorial. There are lots of people who know the software a lot better than I do, doing some excellent tutorials. I know, I've watched loads of them, and I am still learning with some of this stuff, as you will see. Okay, enough rambling. Starting with the one that I probably get most questions about is, what do I use to do things like this, the stripboard layouts? Well, this is a piece of software called DIY Layout Creator. This was the last project that I put up on the site, which is the Quadrone 4 VCO drone generator. So you can see it's got quite a nice layout. You can zoom in and out. Everything's nicely. There's a lovely list of well, actually you've got things like boards, you've got connectivity, electromechanical, we've got here passive components, semiconductors. There's even some schematic symbols, but I've not tried using this for schematics, and we'll see what I do use later. But you can kind of select these items and drop them on your layout. You can get hold of things like, for instance, if you want to make the board bigger, you can kind of move it around, and you can edit things. So, for instance, if we do an edit selection, you can see the whole load of parameters. So you can change the value of whatever it is that's there. You can kind of label it and all sorts of things. Yeah, it's just really good. You can for instance, a resistor there. You can transform selection. Whoa, hitting the escape key takes you back out of things. But if you wanted to kind of, for instance, let's flip a. So if I transform it horizontally, yes, I'm going to do that. But don't build this circuit because that will probably go bang now. But there you go. That's I could actually do if I do a oops, a bit sensitive on the mouse. Undo that because I don't want to causing problems. But that's it. It's called DIY Layout Creator. I'm using version 4.9. I keep getting a pop-up saying that there's a more up-to-date version available, but I think that is probably for a different operating system because I couldn't find it for Linux. But anyway, there you go. You can save things out as PNG image files or PDF. You can print direct from here. Yeah, it's really simple, really good, and again, cross-platform, open source. No, we don't want to save all that messing about I did. So that's stripboard layout. For schematics, well, this one, if you can read this at the top, I'm not sure how well this is coming out, but it's eSchema, which is actually part of, if we go into here, it's part of KiCad. There's a whole range of programs in KiCad, so you can bring up there. This is the link to eSchema, but you set up projects in KiCad. You don't have to do that. What you can do is just use each part of it as a standalone, and in this case I'm using the schematic drawing as a standalone. Again, you can pick out components, so you could pick out symbols, power ports, wires, etc., label, all sorts of labels, place them on your circuit diagram, and it's a bit like using a CAD package. And then you can go in, you can alter the value of the component and how it appears on the drawing, and yeah, just build up your circuit diagram. Really easy, really kind of fairly quick to use, and I find it quite simple. Now with KiCad you can go into this and start doing things like building your own no, it won't let me do it. Building your own, designing your own circuit boards and all sorts of things, but there's lots of steps you have to go through to do it. Now I've followed some tutorials. I've built a circuit board with something like about 4 components on it. As soon as I try and do a PCB layout for one of my circuit designs, it fails miserably. I am very much on the very steep part of that particular learning curve. And since I tend to build everything just for myself on stripboard, I've not really got a big incentive to go and do that. But if you wanted to do your layouts and then produce proper PCB layouts and then get those manufactured, this is a very common program that lots of people use. Okay, so like I say, this is a very quick run through what I use rather than how to use it. So that's schematic layout, stripboard layout. So once I've got those and I start building things, I then need to capture video. Now I tend to use a relatively cheap Logitech video camera and a program called GUVC View, which, there we go, this is actually a live camera shot of part of Project 12. And you can see you can set up all sorts of parameters. You can select what camera input you want. You can set up all sorts of parameters. You've got audio control, so you can select various audio sources for this, and then hit capture, and you can capture either a still image or a video and save it out. It tends to save them out in MKV format, which for me is not too much of a problem. So that's just basically the webcam software. There's all sorts of things that you can do with this. You can set up a sample rate on the audio. You can set up kind of number of channels and all sorts of things. Very versatile and quite stable, and produces some nice images. Certainly with the kit that I've got. But like I say, it's just a relatively inexpensive Logitech webcam that I tend to record things with. Okay, at the moment I'm recording the Scream stuff with a program called Kazam. I'll put a link for that in the bottom, but it's just basically a screencast program. Now, once I've recorded the video, I need to edit it, and the software I use for that is called Openshot, and this was the latest one that I could get to run on my machine. I think there's a later one, but for some reason it wouldn't run on my machine. Now I don't know whether it's the hardware, the OS version, or what, but this is what they call a flat pack version of Openshot, which is a little slow to open up from Flatpak. Well, I think one of the reasons is that all the libraries, it doesn't actually install the software. All the libraries are part of the executable that you click on, so it takes a bit of a while to put all those before you load anything else. Recent projects, what we got here? March of the machine. So, typical non-linear video editing software. So we can pick out video, you've got all the parameters for the video. Dump your project files in here, you've got all sorts of things like video clips. I've got a lot of old film clips for this one. Pictures, that's the Guzzy Sound logo that appears at the start of the clip. Titles, sound, all sorts of things. Transitions, there's a massive range of transitions to go from one video to the other. And effects, there's quite a few effects on here. Chroma key is always a good one. You've got colour shifts, you've got all sorts of things, masking, and of course you got the preview. You can see where you're going, and you just basically get all the things and move it around and all sorts of stuff. Now that's kind of no, I don't want to save it. That's kind of the latest version. Thing is, and it's quite stable, it runs quite well. Now before I got that, I was using this, which is an older version of the same software, and you can see it's completely different layout. Still got quite a massive range of transitions. Still got your kind of your non-linear thing. But the thing with this is it's got a lot more effects, so you can do a lot more with it. The problem with this one is that it's nowhere near as stable, and although you can do lots more effects, it is prone to crashing. A nice simple title editor and title animation going on there. So if you've got the titles, you can add a new title, and you've got kind of a whole range of things that you can stick in there, all sorts of messages and stuff. There's also, it says animated title, a whole range of animated titles. Now what it does, it actually uses the Blender 3D image program to render these titles, so that can be a little bit time consuming depending on how quick your machine is. But hopefully by the time I've gone through all this lot, now the thing is, if I want to do audio as well, if I want to kind of tweak the audio, take out some noise, or boost the gain on it or whatever, then bit of software I use for that is called Audacity. Normally that splash screen will say Audacity in the middle of it. And it's really just audio manipulation. So recent files, what we've got. This, I extracted this from video and kind of cleaned out some of the background noise. Bit of drone going on there. But you've got all sorts of things. So you can amplify the signal, take it up, take it down. You've got noise reduction to take out hiss, background noise, whatever. One of the problems I get is the fans on the computer in this room tend to interfere with clear sound. So I tend to remove most of that using the noise reduction. You can get the noise profile over the fans and then actually remove it. Again, it's open source, cross-platform. It's not meant to be a complete digital audio workstation, or DAW for short. It's just an audio manipulation program, but as a kind of an aid to helping create good audio on my videos, it's invaluable. And I've recorded Modular Nights tracks directly with this from the mixing desk on the synth setup. Quick gallop through. No tutorials, just basically a list of the main pieces of software that I use for producing these videos. So yeah, go check out the links below if you think that these are going to be useful for you, and if you want to start and join the YouTube community, then go on, have a go, build your own software library and create videos.